access to your names as we go along. Anyway, I'm going to get started because I do want to make sure that we get through this in time, and hopefully if other people join in, they can catch up with us. So welcome to the webinar. Thank you all very much for coming on. As you all know, Elsie, who is the program officer at IHS, does do regular webinars from her side of the program, which is to help you with all the filings of the forms and make sure that you get your continuing applications in on time. And I know that I'll just give a plug for Elsie's webinars, and I'm sure there's another one coming up soon which will help to get the actual forms filled out. This one and some others that we're hoping to be doing going forward with these groups is really about what is on the forms that pertain to data collection. So the one that we're dealing with today is the one that you're required to send in at the end of May as part of your continuing application for your year 3 of the grant. And this applies to MSPI, DVPI, and GenI, which is technically part of MSPI, but often considered sort of spoken about separately. So all of the programs have to do this. And it's this particular piece that you have to do is called the Local Data Collection Plan Requirement. So the form is a Local Data Collection Plan. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, that form. So just thank you, everybody that's joined us. The webinar will be recorded, so you can have access to it remotely later if you need to go back and check, and we can send you that access to our mail list out to all of you. So just to sort of take it one step at a time, hopefully you're all aware of what the Local Data Collection Plan is, because you may be already starting to work on your application that's due in at the end of May. But just to recap about that form, the form has come from headquarters to us, so it's a generic form. It's not something that we've created locally. It was created by Behavioral Health in headquarters, and it's a blank form, which is basically a template, and each program has to complete this form and send it in as part of their continuing education. And Elsie can correct me if I'm wrong, but as we understand right now, it's probably going to be just converted into a PDF and filed with the application. I don't know if you want to add anything about that, Elsie.
Only that the local data collection plan needs to be filled out. You're right, Anne. Yes, you're correct, and that needs to be included with all the documents when it's being submitted into Grant Solutions. So yes.
Okay, great, thank you. And if you have a last-minute panic about how to send it in, Elsie is your woman, okay, not me, because I don't know how to send it in either. I know how to tell you what to put on it, but you'll be ringing Elsie on May 30th if you don't know how to actually get the forms across the system to be filed, okay? You'll be ringing me if you don't know what to write onto the form, so that's where we're at with it. Okay, and the deadline is the end of May, and it's a mandatory thing, so I think we've made that point, and that's why we want to help to see how we can do this. So one other thing to remember and know is that each of your areas is separate. So for example, there is no one in this area that's doing Purpose Area 1, but some of you are focusing on Purpose Area 2, suicide prevention, some on Purpose Area 3, methamphetamine prevention, and then Purpose Area 4 for MSPI is the GenI purpose area. So just so you remember, because each of these areas has a different form, okay? So the people who are doing suicide prevention will be looking at a different form than Generation Indigenous. So just make sure you're aware of that, okay? And similarly with DVPI. Now, actually, everybody in this area is doing Purpose Area 1. There's no one doing Purpose Area 2. So you will all have the same form, but just make sure it's the correct one. And we'll go into where that correct form is, okay? So that's just to make sure that everyone is aware of that. So where can I find the form? Now, actually, Elsie might be able to help a little bit with this too. I don't know personally how that has come to you. I do know that if you don't have it and you can't find it, you can go onto the IHS website and they're all there. It may already be with you in some kind of packet that you've received from headquarters. But if you don't have it on you and you don't know where to look for it or find it, you go to the IHS website and the link is on here. So I have just done a screenshot of the page which is on the IHS website for continuing application. And if you look there where it says Local Data Collection Plan Template, you see each area has a link, and if you click that link, you will get your form. Another way is you can email me, and I have a copy of all the form, and I can send you a blank form either. But it is out there on the IHS website, and that is the form that you're looking at for the MSPI and Gen I, and here is the format on the website for the DVPI, same thing. It just has on the continuing application page, it has the local data collection plan template, title, and then it has the two forms, and you would choose the one for your area. So does anyone have any questions about any of that so far? Okay, so that's where you get the forms. If you can't find them, or you can email me and I'll send them to you. And I'll just make sure that I send you the right one for your program area because they're all slightly different. So the other really critical thing that you need to know about this form is that right now, when you complete this form, you do not need to put any data into the form. I just want to make sure you understand that you don't need to put any data into the form at all, okay? So at this point in time, which is coming up about halfway through year 2, applying for year 3, all you're doing is putting in a plan for how you will collect data in year 3. So again, there's no data going into the form. It's a plan for data collection that you're sending to them. So you can breathe a bit easier because they're not expecting any data this year. It's going to be for next year. Next year being September 30th, 2017 to September 29th, 2018. For most of you, this is year 3 of the program that you're going to be collecting the data for. Some of the Gen I programs just got from the Bright Colleges. That is year 2 for you. But it's not this year. It's not this current year, okay? So all you need to do at this point is to file the plan. And then in September 2018, you'll need to file data. Did someone have a question? Okay, so that's just one thing to be very clear about, okay? Now, the form itself is quite long and complicated, and I've only copied the first 3 or 4 boxes here. It is not intuitive how to fill out this form. So you will be thrilled to know that all of our tech centers, you know, I'm here speaking on representing the RIM Tech, which is Rocky Mountain Tribal Epidemiology Center. We are charged with, I'm working on a contract for them, and we're charged to help you with your data collection plans. And so we are in your area, but we also connect with all the tech centers in all the other IHS areas. And we have done so, and we have come up with some information that we have been able to fill out these forms in a template for you. So you're looking at a blank one, but if you email me, and I just would like to have that connection from you, I'd like to make sure you've seen, you're aware, and you're asking me for it. If you would shoot me an email, I will send you a template for your area. Now, when I talk about a template, like, for example, we've created one template for the DVPI programs, which is filled out. But it's only filled out to the extent that it gives you generic language. You will need to tweak that language. But at the very least, it does help you to look at how we've envisioned it. So, you know, for example, on the who will collect the data, I might have written program manager in that, and you might change it to program director or something like that. But we have got a form that's filled out as a template for you that you can then adapt to your setting. Because this form goes on for pages and it's really quite complicated. So we have done that for you. And if you email me, I'll send it to you. So, yeah, this is the information for you about how to get in touch with me so I can send you a template. And then if you don't understand what's written there, or if there are questions about the form, which is very likely, you can call me and schedule a meeting one-on-one with me. Please note that I'm not going to be like permanently available every minute of the day, and I'm actually up on Blackfeet the week of May 15th working, and we have a fairly heavy schedule. So I don't want, please don't send me every question on May 30th because it might be a problem to get back to you. So if you look at the form and you have a question, please let me know as soon as possible, and then we can discuss it on the phone, okay? So the thing that is also critical to know beyond simply how to fill out the piece of paper is that this is going to come back and haunt you in year 3. If, on the one hand, all you're doing is making a plan, but on the other hand, at the end of year 3, you're going to have to go back to this plan and you're going to have to, like, send in data according to the plan. So I think I've got an example. Have I? Yes. Okay, so just to go back to this one, so you need to start really making sure that you collect your records and you know, knowing you all and working with your different programs. Some of you are really good at that, and some of you have not done an awful lot of collecting of data. And I was out on Northern Cheyenne a couple of weeks ago, you know, and there was some sort of question about this form. It's so many boxes, it's so complicated, and the people out there, Bertie and Danelle, had actually created like an alternative format with all these beautiful circles, which was a lot more connected looking. And definitely I have heard, as I've spoken to some of you, some sort of resistance to the form. I think the form is long and complicated, but I think the purpose of this is to make sure that you start to think about how to collect data. So, for example, it says things like, let's go to my example here. Here's an example. So the form says to record the number and the types of training conducted for healthcare providers in Purpose Area 2. So let's imagine that you've been training healthcare providers through the ASSIST program about suicide prevention. Let's just imagine that's it. So it says on that form, like, where will you get this information from when you come to collect, to put your data together? So what you're going to say on the form is that you'll get the information from your project records. So you need to be sure that in your project records, if you do a training at the very beginning of year 3, and then you get to the end of year 3, you have to send in your data, your project records correctly let you know how many people attended that training and what the training was, and even hopefully you have, you know, copies of the certificates or something, so that whatever you promise you're going to be able to do in this form, you're actually able to do it. And that might sound really basic, but we all know that kind of we do a sign-in and we only get 5 people that signed the sheet, and actually there were 15 people at the meeting. Well, you're not going to get credit for that. If 1 year later you go back to tally up your sign-in sheets and you don't have complete data. So I would urge you to think, as you're looking at this, well, do I have a database into which I enter the total number of trainings and the total number of people? And if I don't, I need to get one. And that's the kind of thing that we can help you with. You know, we can help you design like small, like simple Excel databases in which you file your data. So again, as you're creating this, think of what your project's records look like. And imagine if I said to you, okay, send me the total number of people you trained in year 2, would you actually be able to do that right now from the records that you've kept? And it's not always as simple as training, because sometimes it's just like, you know, attending events or putting on a dance or something. Did you record the number of people that came, or you know, the kinds of ceremonies that you've conducted, and when and where you did them, the dates, the locations? If you keep all your records, like your flyers and your you know, sign-in sheets and your handouts, then you will have something to go on. But we all sort of do this. We all go along happily doing our stuff, and then suddenly at the end of the year, it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't record anything, or I didn't record everything, I'm not going to get credit for it. So just be sure that you keep all that. Another example, you know, for the DVPI, one of the questions, or it might be a conglomerate of the questions, but it asks you on that form, you know, the number of providers trained in domestic violence and sexual assault screening, and the types of discipline trained. So as you look at what you're going to do to create a sign-in sheet for the providers that you train in this instance, for example, you'll want the number, and it's asking you for the type of discipline trained. So you want to make sure that the records you keep record the number of providers you trained and who they are. Are they, you know, what discipline are they from? Are they nurses? Are they doctors? Are they community health workers? Are they pediatric nurse practitioners? Are they from behavioral health? Are they obstetricians? So just make sure that as you look at that stuff that you need to report on, you're actually going to be collecting the information in a format that you can fill that out when you actually have to send this in next year. So this concludes the presenting piece of it, and you can definitely ask me questions. But just to sort of summarize what we said, you must submit this local data collection plan with your continuing application at the end of May. And we are here to help with the content of the form, but preferably not all on the 30th of May, because there's quite a lot of programs out there. And we don't want everyone that's calling in a panic, because it will take you some time to fill this form out. It's not going to happen overnight. And then again, if you have trouble submitting this form or any other form as part of the continuing application, Elsie Jo area, who I know you're all very well connected with, she can help you with the logistics of submitting that. And then we are here to help you with the content of the form. There is another thing I was showing you. We're using either Elsie Jo's mailing list, or I also have my own emailing list put together on my computer for all of you. If you have program changes or name changes, or if you have a specific person that's assigned to collecting the data or filling out these forms for your program, and they're not getting our emails, like if they didn't get this webinar invite or something, please send me updated connection material so that I have a new email address for them and a name for the new person, or someone's replaced somebody else. And I will adapt my mailing list accordingly. But I rely on Elsie because I know how reliable all her stuff is, so I just hit reply onto her mail list. But for sure, if you're not getting these emails, please shoot me an email if you have any changes or new people on board. So that's it for my bit about presentation. And I realize I haven't taken you through the form line by line and said, this is how to fill in this bit, this is how to fill in that bit, because I have got that already together for you in a completed form, which I can send you, which then will be used for you as a template that you can write your own stuff into if you need to. So having presented all of that, I am open to questions. We have an hour scheduled for the webinar. It may not take us the whole of our 30 minutes, but I'm certainly willing for people to ask any questions if they have any. And if you can just make sure everyone's unmuted. Jackie, I should have introduced Jackie is a student, a grad student who's working with us at Boston Medical. Her name's Jacqueline Berger, if you ever get an email from her. She was on the, she came to the DVPI in-person meeting last year in Great Falls, so some of you have met her in person, and she's kind of working on the technical assistance part for me, helping to set up some of these phone calls. And I think we also have some people on here from RoomTech. I see Diani's name in here. Diani Bingham works with me on RoomTech. She's like one of the program organizers at RoomTech. So I'm getting text saying people are having trouble getting into the webinar, but we'll have to help them later. Yes, so Jackie's here and Dion is on here. Is anyone wanting to speak up?
I'm just going to unmute everybody, Anne, so they can all.
Thank you. So Jackie, we do mute people just so that it's clear when I'm speaking, but everyone is now unmuted. So if you have a question, you can speak directly, and we will be able to hear you. Any questions? Either it was so clear that everyone's totally got it, or it's still such a mystery that no one even knows what to ask questions about. But we'll hope it's the first one.
And this is Courage from Peck.
Hey, Courage.
So I heard that because we started a year later, that we only have to file a plan for our data collection then for this year?
It's not just because you started a year later. And also Joe can correct me if there's anything I say that's not correct in terms of requirements, but everybody only has to file a plan. Even those places that have been working on this for 2 years already, this year when you send this stuff in, it's a plan for everybody. So for you too, Courage, these forms represent a plan. They don't represent data, so you don't need to put any numbers into anything. It's simply a plan. And I think when you see the form that we've completed for you, that will be kind of a little bit clearer. But yes, you don't have to send any data. You just have to send, you're completing this form makes up a plan. Okay, when you've got this form completed, you'll have a plan for how you're going to collect the data.
Okay, thank you then.
But that doesn't mean, Anne and yes, everyone who's on the phone,
yes.
Just, this is Elsie. That doesn't mean that you should not collect the plan. The data. You need to continue to collect the data because eventually you're going to use the data that you're collecting right now. But right now, we just for this year, for year 3 and year 2 for the Gen Is, everyone has to file a plan, and that's important. For the local data collection plan needs to go in this year as a plan thus the word plan at the end of local data collection. So that plan needs to go in, and then the next time you file this local data collection, it'll be the data next. So continue to collect the data.
Good point, yes. You're still supposed to collect data, you just don't have to send anything yet. Thank you, Elsie. Not any data, yeah. Any other questions?
I think as it seems to me that as people have started looking at the continuing application kit, people will eventually start having questions. So if you've already started, I know that a couple people have already called me about the data collection plan. That I think questions will come up as they continue to look at the forms, is all I'm saying.
Definitely.
So right now you may not have a question, but please contact both either me or Ann, and we'd be glad to help you.
Yeah, and just to delineate, Elsie's the person to call about, like, you know, finding the form and where it is and where to put it, and I'm the one to contact about what to put into it.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the continuing application stuff is all Elsie. We're just doing the data piece of it. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we'll conclude the webinar. We don't need to drag it on too long. I'm sure you will have questions as you get the form. So the next thing you need to do is to shoot me an email, and I hope you all have my email address by now, but if you don't, if you're looking at the screen, you can see my name. It's Ann with an E. So it's Ann.Merewood, MEREWOOD, at bnc.org, BNC for Boston Medical Center. If you can't find my email and you don't have any inbox emails from me, you can always ask Bill if she can send it on to you. You should have it because it should be on the meeting invite and everything. So just shoot me an email, tell me, you know, who you are, which your program is, which I kind of know already, but just send it me, and then I will send you our template back. And then if you have questions, you can ask them, call me, email me separately. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming on. Yes? Is someone else have something?
This is Elsie. I have a question. Are we able to download this webinar? You said it was recorded?
Jackie, what's the setup going to be? How do we get the webinar to people, Jackie? Can you or someone in my office answer that question?
Yeah, after I'm done here, Rebecca's going to help me download it, and then I was going to send out a Dropbox link so everybody can access the video.
Do people have access to Dropbox? We'll figure out the logistics, Elsie, but we will send out a link so that people can access the webinar. We might put it on our website. That might be a little bit easier. But I don't think when I'm looking at this that there's anything remotely confidential in here that, you know, I can't imagine that anyone would go onto our website looking for this webinar that would get anything from here that's confidential. So I think, and I can't imagine that anyone who's not part of this program would be particularly interested in this webinar. So I will we might just put it onto our website so that anyone can access it from any of the tribes. I can't see why there would be a problem with that. It's very basic, common knowledge information. So I think we might even go as far as just put it on our website. But we will get in touch with you. We'll send you a link, okay?
Okay, Ann, this is Elsie again. If you could just send me that link when I meet with all the projects, I'll go ahead and include that link so they can just click on it and access this if they need to, okay?
Beautiful. Yes,
that'll work.
Yes.
Thank you.
On our agenda.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone on the line?
Right.
Okay, guys, well, thank you for everyone. There was so many of you on. It's great that you all came on. And we will set up some more webinars very soon. I'm willing to ideas about future webinars. If you have something burning that you want to talk about and you feel everyone else would benefit, we would really like to hear from you. But we're definitely going to start setting up some webinars in which you guys will basically be the presenters, and you're going to be able to showcase your program and also talk about how you're collecting your data as part of that program, since that's our piece of this. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
And before everybody leaves, you guys, before everybody leaves, this is Elsie. I wanted to say I have heard from a few of the projects that they really enjoyed having the DVPI meeting and then also the MSPI meeting where all of the projects are able to get together and discuss. So maybe we will again look at having a couple of meetings this coming year to bring on the new staff team members, and we'll do this again before the end of the year. I was trying to get some details before this meeting, but I haven't been able to get them, so I haven't put anything on the slide. But the IHS is having a meeting at the beginning of September, the 11th, 12th, and 13th, which is going to be together with RUMTech, and the focus is going to be drug prevention. So I have asked them to put this onto the agenda. When I was there a couple of weeks ago, we sort of met in person to discuss this, and we also would like to try and bring all our programs to that meeting. So that might be a good time to coincide. It's the very beginning of September. I don't have the official save the date yet, which is, I had asked for it, and unfortunately I don't have it, so I can't give it out as an official date, but I think that's a good week for us to do that might be 11th, 12th, 13th of September, so just keep that in mind. And I can talk to you offline about that later, Elsie, but that's something that is in the pipeline as a possibility. Okay, guys.
Hey, Ann, I have
all right. Thank you all. Take care.
And
oh, yeah.
one more question. Sorry. This
go ahead, Courage.
Okay, so we were given an email that we had to go to a mandatory meeting down in, I believe it's Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when we originally wrote the grant, we said that meeting was going to be held in Denver, and so
don't worry about it, Courage.
Elsie can speak to this.
Yes.
I keep talking about the Manchester meeting, but I haven't seen anything recently.
Courage?
Yeah. It's
Courage, right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Courage, don't worry about it being mandatory. It's not mandatory. I followed up with Audrey, and she did send an email out, and it isn't mandatory, but you're highly encouraged to attend that meeting because we have a pre-conference meeting with all of the directors and coordinators of each project. So you're going to get some hands-on training, and you're also will be attending the rest of the conference. So that will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It is August 15th, I believe it was, that week.
Yes.
In the middle of the week. And yes, that will be part of my agenda, so I'll remind everyone then again that, but yes, I did follow up with Audrey, and she said, no, it's not going to be mandatory, but you're highly encouraged to attend it. And if you're one of your team members, or if the team members can't make it, then at least send one so they can take the message back as to what we did. Okay?
So will there be any type of meeting then for us in Denver during Unity?
No, that Denver piece is only used to identify that you're going to attend an annual meeting. Last year it was in Portland. The year before it was in Denver. This year it's in Tulsa. So that Denver is just being used as the annual meeting because that was the first one they had. Okay?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that update.
Thank you for your question. I'll cover it again when we have our, it'll be on the agenda, the next agenda, when we have our next meeting next week. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Elsie.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
All right,
thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Anything else?
Bye.
Okay. Thank you all very much.